Hello, it's the Anfield Rapids, John Gibbons, in for Neil Atkinson, who's in Las Vegas, possibly forever, because his flight home is with Thomas Cook. But I reckon Neil has got the potential to have a one-man show in Vegas. I'm sure he's already plotting it.
I'd definitely go. If I was in Vegas and Neil was on me,
oh, I mean, you always support the lad. Eddie Scouse would do it, Eddie, and you'll always support. Is David Price still going to be heavyweight champion of the world one day, Kev?
It's coming soon, you know. He wasn't very impressive, mate, and Price could take his head.
That is Kev Walsh. You can hear I'm also joined by Lizzi Doyle, by Paul Senior and by Jamie Webster to talk about Liverpool's victory against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge and the fact that we're still top of the league. Jamie, you went yesterday, didn't you? Did you have a good day?
Fantastic day. It's always nice to go and beat them in their own backyard, isn't it? Good first half performance, and started the second half. We started bright as well. You know, we come under the cosh after like 65 minutes, I'd say, towards the end of the game. But, you know, we didn't really look like losing the game, I don't think. All right, we was a bit nervy when a few crosses were coming in the box. But, yeah, you know, you fight out these wins. You should see Man United do it week in, week out when I was growing up and come away with the points. So, yeah, that's the main thing, innit?
Yeah, you didn't go, Paul. I know it's a sore subject.
It is, yeah, very much so.
Our stupid wives and children.
I know.
Women in our lives.
She didn't even fucking have it.
Kev knows all about that. She was just slagged away. No, we won't do that. Yeah, love you, Ted. If you're listening. He's like, damn, I fucking dad. My mate's like, yeah, I know. What was it talking about? So we didn't go. I always feel it's nervy watching on telly. That's the point I wanted to make. I always feel like if Jamie's there, you know, cool as you like, thinking, oh, this is sound. There is something about when you're not there. I don't know, it's because you think, oh, I can't shout something to help them. Because that's exactly what Joe Mattip's after. But it's harder, isn't it? And I was tense.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it's weird. Obviously, I go to most games, and I watched it in a motel, and you're like, I almost didn't know how to behave. it was horrible, but yeah, it was nervy, and you definitely sort of see a different game. I realised that we were under the cosh, and we very much were under the cosh for the end of it. I think once I think the subs they had to make helped them. I think Alonso improved them massively. Yeah. And we look like a team that had a proper game in Naples in the week. You know, that I don't think you see Kante run past Fabinho as easy if they didn't have such a big game in the week. But as Jamie said, you go there, you beat them in their backyard. It's not easy. Chelsea's home record, although it's now a different place to go. Over the years, has been formidable, and you know we've gone there under Klopp and had great joy for the last couple of years.
And Kev, where did you watch it, and where you're pacing?
I wasn't pacing, I was lying on our couch watching it. I was pacing up and down the stairs shouting at the kids because they were being a pain in the arse. RJP come round with his little fella, so there was, instead of 2 little fuckers running around, I had 3. And they were just a nightmare. But the match itself was sound, I thought. First hour, alright, and then the last half hour, as you said, Paul, I think the exertions we had in the week really took it out of us. I was a little bit... I thought Fabinho got over his thing of like running out of legs in games. He seems to have managed it all the way through, but fucking hell, he turned like a trawler, didn't he, when Kante turned him? And I thought he should have been the one to come off there. I thought it was a bit of a mad decision to take Henderson off. Obviously, he's got the same issue with legs, I suppose. But Fabinho, in the first half, I just thought he made Kante look like an amateur. He was absolutely fantastic in everything that he did. And if I think if Liverpool had just kept on the gas a little bit more the first 15 after half time. If you think about most of the games we've had this season, if it's been going badly, especially, it's been the case, it gets to half time and then the first 15 after half time were absolutely irresistible, and we scored a lot of goals there. And when we went in 2-0 up, I just thought that'd be my team talk. I thought get them in and say to them, listen, we can kill this game in the next 15 minutes and then we can just coast for the last half an hour. I thought if we'd have done that, it would have been overall an easier game for us to play, because I think by the end of it we were knackered. You could tell we were very much under the cosh, and we were very much having to do the run, and we probably didn't really want to do. Like when Andy Robbo steps out with the ball in the last minute there, what a sense of relief it was. But I think you could tell everyone was like, that's all we've got left in us now, we just need to be done.
Yeah, celebrated that run like a goal. Yeah. you always do, don't you? But like, yeah, I'd like to go back to Fabinho. I think obviously he was a little bit sluggish for that Kante goal, but I reckon the reason for leaving him on is his presence just on the pitch, you know, especially when the crosses are coming into the box and it's scrappy around the edge of the box. I think he's the only player in our team, well, the first player in our team that I'd have fighting
That's a fair point,
at the very end of the game. I mean, I know a few second balls. It's always about the second ball, I think, in football. I think you can be... Our back four is quite organised in terms of to deal with the first cross. And if you look at the goal that got disallowed for VAR, it was in the second phase again where sort of got caught under our feet. And I think it was a lot of second balls that were hanging in the air around the edge of the box yesterday towards the back end of the game. And Fabinho's there. He's almost like another centre-half as well, isn't he? He's a big lad. I mean, I think he's been I think he's not under the radar, but I don't think he's talked about as much. I think everyone talks about Firmino, Salah and Mane and everything that's going on between them and Van Dijk, you know, and everything else and the full-backs. But, you know, I think you look at his record in the team, Fabinho. Yeah. He's been, for me...
He's yet to lose a game, is he?
Yeah, he's yet to...
Unbelievable.
He's my standout player at the minute for Liverpool. I think he's made the biggest difference since Van Dijk and Alisson coming in. I think his form is really what's now separating us as a world-class team, because if you look at that spine of our team now, particularly when Alisson's back, I think that's the most important thing for any successful football team, is the spine. You look at when we had the success under Benitez, we had that fantastic spine, and the players around that spine weren't even that great under Benitez. But now you look at us now, you look at the spine we've got, and then the players who aren't in that spine, you're talking Mane, Salah, the full-backs, and then the other lads in midfield who are coming in and doing jobs. We are a really good team, but I do think Fabinho, for me, sometimes, yeah, you know, what about that rugby tackle as well in the 83rd minute or something like that? Listen, that's what we've needed, someone who's dirty, someone who'll, you know, he'll take that book and take one for the team, if you like. I just think he's been...
That's exactly what Fernandinho does for Man City all the time, that tactical foul.
You've got to have an alas.
Exactly, when he done that, I was exactly the same as you. I was like, yes, that's exactly what we needed to do. None of this fanning around trying to nick the ball back. He's in his own half, he's right by their area. Bring him down here, we'll all reset and try and get through us again. You got no chance.
And that's something that we were missing. I felt for a long period, and you need that when you're trying to be a successful side. Someone who can, as you say about Fernandinho, a bit of an alas who can do that, but also he backs it up with so much quality. We talk about him as like, obviously in the defensive sense, but I think going forward, that's the bit where he's massively underrated. The little lofted ball he plays over to Trent, and then it comes back, and then he plays one in behind to I can't remember who the runner is.
I think it's Mane, the one in the first half.
Yeah. Just the way he's just so calm and composed at the edge of the box, his passing's fantastic. You're seeing him bring full-backs into play all the time now, and I think that's definitely the part of his game that's being underestimated. Is how, like, people in that position are quite often limited on the ball. If you think of Mascherano's, who were absolutely fantastic at doing the other part of the job Fabinho does, but he's got everything and more than that, and also releasing the likes of Henderson and Wijnaldum to go and do bits further forward. That is the midfield three for me now. Obviously, it's the one that Klopp's backing most now, but I don't think you can look at any big game. You want them three fit and fine, and that everything else will come good.
Yeah, I think when you analyse a game, Lizzie, I think especially straight after, the temptation is always to think about what's happened just then and what's happened at the end of the game. And so Liverpool fans come out and go, felt like we got away with one a little bit maybe, or it was tough at the end there. Obviously Chelsea get applauded off, which is a little bit mad, isn't it? Because you associate sort of Chelsea with you know, we want success now, and you know, being a little bit kind of you know, knee-jerk really. Maybe that's unfair, but you know what I mean. But that's the kind of the feeling after the game, is that the Chelsea almost felt more positive than Liverpool. But I think it is important to reflect on the full game as a whole, and how we go to Stamford Bridge and straight away it's our ball, and that shows the confidence that they've got, is that straight away we're the team on the ball, we're the team with the possession, we're the team pushing, we're the team, you know Mane's getting in straight away, and he's really getting at the, you know, Aspilicueta and really sort of giving him a game. Obviously the goal comes, and that comes from control, it comes from confidence, it comes from our team being one that goes, we'll just go anywhere and win.
It's exactly what I expected, especially first half. I thought we played great. Like I say, it was second half and probably the last 20 that it started to get a bit shaky. But even the fact that, even though the two goals were from set pieces, and also the fact that the two set pieces, they've created another, I think you said second phase there, it's like that's where the goals come from there. But I honestly thought, you know, at 2-0, I thought we're going to go on here to 3-4-5. I thought we were playing so well, like you said, full of confidence. And I just thought we were so much better than Chelsea for the majority of the game. But the thing is, with Chelsea, I still think you can't underestimate them, and they had Kante back as well, which was a huge factor for them. I think Kante grew in the game, and he helped them a lot second half. But to me, even though it was a little bit shaky in the second half, I still didn't doubt that we were going to win. To be honest, I thought it would be very Liverpool to go and just get a third goal from somewhere, and that would have killed the game. I have so much belief in this side that even that when Chelsea were coming on to us in the second half, I thought, you know what, it's fine, we're going to see this out, and they did. And I think the second half is summed up by that moment with Andy Robertson just breaking off, and they defended really well. I don't think they actually done too much wrong really yesterday.
There's a period at 2-0 where I think we're playing brilliant stuff as well.
Yeah.
We had a real swagger about us. I look around the period where Kepa makes the save from Firmino, and Liverpool are just all over Chelsea. Then you think, well,
that's the start of the second half as well, isn't it? And I think that's worth pointing out, Paul, because I think it's so easy to go, game of two halves. Liverpool won the first half, Chelsea won the second half, but actually started the second half. We look like we're going to run away with it.
Yeah, I think from 60-65 minutes on, Chelsea get back in the game. And as I said earlier, I think Liverpool started to look a little bit leggy, and I wasn't surprised by some of the subs. I think, who was it who comes on for Mane? Milner, was it Milner?
Yeah, it was Milner.
Milner's ready before Kante scores, so Mane's coming off regardless of that goal. But yeah, I thought Liverpool had the game under so much control that when Chelsea score, you really didn't quite expect it. And then obviously the last 20-25, the Lallana sub made sense for me. I thought he just needed someone who was going to be responsible on the ball. Don't get me wrong, I don't think you've seen anything of Lallana, but I could see what his train of thought was. I thought we were a bit sloppy in possession. We were giving it away a bit, but Chelsea, if you've seen them for all of the season, they have spells. They've just been 20 minutes in games where Chelsea have been really good, and then they've sort of fell off, and they were throwing everything at us, but we resisted. And where Lizzie said, I fancied Liverpool to go on and make it 3-1. Well, you do nowadays, but in the past, this is how far we've come. I think it's Klopp's 150th game. 150 games ago, if Liverpool go 2-1 there, it goes 2-2.
Yeah, guaranteed.
It's almost certain that it would have gone 2-2. Liverpool would have wilted. But now, no, we didn't. We made it 18 out of 18, and it's a measure of the side.
There was that spell as well where it just felt like everything that Jorginho was getting was just, there was just so much space. It just seemed that he was pinging balls to Marcus Alonso, and he was getting in all the time, and you could tell that was the tactic. It was get the ball to Jorginho, he's going to spray it out, and that's where they were attacking us. But I think there was this idea where we were talking last week on the podcast as what's Liverpool's weakness. Everyone's saying it's Adrian, whereas now I don't think you can really say Adrian's a weakness. So then they go to the young right back and go, well, it's Trent. Whereas Trent, I think, got caught out maybe once or twice, but there was everyone covered. There was just no issue there whatsoever.
I was talking about Trent yesterday quite a bit. There's pros and cons with Trent, but his pros are massively outweighing his cons. But you've got to take it on the chin a little bit, because if you're looking at a defender who's getting 10-15 assists a year, you've got to take the fact that someone's going to run past them now and again.
Do you know why people run past them though? Is you look at Trent, right, and he always gets this aimed at him, that people target him, and I think they do, but I think they target Trent as much for the fact that Salah's in front of him and doesn't sack back as they do for the fact that Trent can't defend. Because I think Trent can defend, but I think teams are looking and thinking, well, if you get it in, basically if you get in between Salah and Trent, you've got just one man to go at, because the likelihood of Salah following you back isn't great. Whereas on the other side, Mane's much more likely to put the shift in and go back. Now listen, I'm not expecting Salah to be running all over the pitch. You don't want him running his legs off to defend the ball, because you want him to be able to run the defender's legs off them in attack. So it's all about, I think it's all about percentages. Obviously, you've got to attack somewhere, and if you're going to pick the side with two fellas or you're going to pick the side with one, it makes more sense. So Trent's going to get more pressure on him, which is obviously going to lead to times when people go past him. I think some of the criticism over him for his defending is wayward.
It's not needed. The way we play, the way we set up anyway, if you look at the Man City game at Anfield, like last year and a couple of years ago in the Champions League, if you look at every time we play against a decent side and we go a couple of goals, that ball is always on for the full-back, always against us, every time. I think it's Klopp expects the likes of Wijnaldum or Henderson, whichever side it's on, to fill in. Yeah. The only thing is, like you say, if the full-back then joins the midfielder and the winger from the opposing team, we do look outnumbered on that side. But, I think that's a risk that we're comfortable taking. I agree. Because, we've got enough players in behind the ball anyway. The back four's been solid. When Alisson's in goal, anything that comes in his area, it is. Yeah. And, yeah, I think it is. I think Trent is under a little bit of too much criticism, because Yeah, like you said, Andy Robertson would be under the exact same, you know, a couple of balls coming from the right-hand side yesterday as well. That's the way we play. Klopp's seen that yesterday, and he's seen, usually we cope with it quite well. Yesterday, I think towards the last, when it got into the last 10, I think he thought it's a bit too close for comfort this, brought Gomez on, went 5 at the back, and that stopped that outball then for the last 5 to 10 minutes. There was no outball anymore. The crosses stopped coming in. We looked like we were going to come away with the points once that happened, and I think it was a good. And you know, people sometimes criticise Klopp substitutions at times, but I think bringing Gomez in yesterday, particularly to stop that out, because it was quite clear, you could see what Chelsea were going to do. Lizzie mentioned it there, but you know, I think most of the weeks, and particularly at Anfield, you don't really worry about that because you know we've got enough to deal with it.
The thing is with it as well, if teams do play like that, it only takes us to nick the ball, and if they've tried to overload in that area, it means they're underexposed somewhere else. Mate, and if we can get that ball through to the front three, they're dead, aren't they?
If our legs were fresher yesterday, we win that 4-5-1. You know, if you look at, like you said, the Firmino chance in the start of the second half, Salah could have had a couple. His touch was there a little bit, you know, his touch was a little bit sharper. He went the wrong side of Kante towards the end, and when Mane clipped the ball into him on his chest, I think if he doesn't take that second touch, if he takes that first touch, and it's a goal. You know, it's a goal, or it's testing the keeper, isn't it? So, you know, football is one of them games where it's all if buts and maybes in it, but we come away with the points. All right, we were under the cosh at Stamford Bridge, but what team won't be under the cosh at Stamford Bridge for 20 minutes? And I tell you something else, no other team, bar Man City, will go there and take the piss like we did. You know what I mean? They won't. So, you know, we've come away with the points. You can say we've got away with it. I don't. I think it was a well fought away 3 points, you know, onwards and upwards, 6 out of 6, top of the league, maximum points. Let's just go and beat Sheffield United.
Jamie mentioned earlier that is
first, lad.
Yeah, well, we'll give the young lads a remote. I'm playing.
I'd very much pick you. I think Jamie mentioned earlier about Man United. Like I grew up watching Man United win that sort of performance all the time, and no one ever spoke about the negatives or Man United being under the cosh. They always called it a sign of champions. Like that's all that was ever known. That was all that was ever known as. Is that's what champions do. Even if they don't play well in periods of the game. That's how you win titles, whether you deserve it or not. I agree with Jamie. I do think we deserved the win. I thought you're talking about half an hour of Chelsea pressure, but what do you expect when you're 2-0 at home? Chelsea aren't just going to sit there and take it. I think it's important to accentuate the positive of everything in Liverpool's performance yesterday, and especially with Trent. I mean, you're talking about a 20-year-old kid there who's telling Mohamed Salah and the club captain Jordan Henderson that's his free kick, and just everything about his game. Like Shearer highlighted it on Match of the Day too last night. I thought really well, where as obviously we've gone, someone's got round Trent a couple of times there, but he was going, no, look at the distance he's leaving now between him and the centre half. He was in the right position a lot yesterday, but also, I mean, going forwards, you can't, there isn't a full-back in the world, attacking full-back in the world that's swapping for now. His deliveries from set pieces, from corners, free kicks, fucking any scenario, whether he's throwing it in from deep, almost like Beckham, hitting the line right by the corner flag and firing it across goal. He's literally got it all now. When you're talking about a lad who's 20 years of age, he's played in 2 Champions League finals, been in one of the best title races of all time. What more can you what's to come? I said that to me mate yesterday. He messaged me over Trent, and I texted him back and said Trent has got Gerrard levels of potential. Obviously he's not there yet, and I'm not saying that he is. He's going to get there, but if his trajectory carries on like it is, he's going to have a career. But his exposure is far greater than what Steven Gerrard had as well. He's playing in a side that's much better. He's already been to a World Cup. He's as I said, he's played in 2 Champions League finals. He's playing in one of the best sides of the world. That sort of
definitely gets sent off less as well.
Yeah, very much so. But that's another thing you can mention though. That it was immature of Gerrard to get sent off as often as he did. With Trent's not falling into that. He doesn't get booked very often either. You know, he's a sort of cleaner image footballer, you could say, but he's. I never believed he had Gerrard levels of potential, but I'm starting to be honest. And the conversation around him, whether he moves into midfield or whether he's a right back, I think is now being put to bed because quite clearly one of the best right backs in the world at his
still
age
don't think
already.
that's been put to bed, you know. I think he's so good at right back, and I understand why you'd say keeping it, but that same argument was had about Steven Gerrard at the same age. I remember Tommy Smith in the Pink Echo every week saying he should stay there. If he carries on the way he's going and improves the way he's improving, he's running games from right back. When he moves into the centre of the midfield, he's gonna run leagues, not just games.
It's hard. I think you need to see him there to believe it. But I just think sometimes you can go, we've got one of the best right backs in the world. We've got a midfield that's, and I'm talking purely in a Klopp being at Liverpool sense, that's just functioning. It's almost like they're not the stars of the show. They enable everything else to happen, and there's so much impetus put on what we do through full back that Trent will be a bigger star and more important to Liverpool at right back. That might, I mean, if Klopp goes on
I think
and we
that's a good
change
point.
system and whatnot, then fine. But I actually think it's better for Trent in terms of development, being a bigger cog in the machine, that he's at right back under Klopp than it would be playing, I don't know where Wijnaldum plays.
Yeah, having to shuttle and support whoever's bombing on
I'd rather play
fullback.
fullback.
My cousin, just for the argument of the midfield thing, just to keep it open, my cousin plays for Blackburn under 23s. He played against Trent in Sunday League and all the way through each other's lives, you know, Blackburn versus Liverpool. They played together in the schoolboys. And the first thing I said to our Charlie when he come in the team, I said, hey, he's a good player, that lad, isn't he? And he said, you want to see him in midfield? That's what he said.
Yeah.
You know, and our Charlie's a footballer. But again, like Paul said, his development since that point at right back has been, you know, when he wraps his foot around that ball, there's not many people who've got that technique in the game now to just, you know, even you go back to the Origi assist in Barcelona, the pace he puts on that ball, and like for a young lad to do that off not even any real thought, it was sort of instinct to be able to do that. It's special, innit? And the way he wrapped his foot around that free kick yesterday, that wasn't bad either. So, you know, there's an argument to be made because his assists are special, you know, the balls that he puts in the box, you know, how many goals he creates. But, you know, if he's in the middle of the park running at defences and lashing balls at goalkeepers, you know, like he did yesterday, there's another argument to be made, isn't there? So, but listen, like Paul said, he's one of the best young fullbacks in world football, in my opinion, at the minute. I'm happy he's a Scouser and a Liverpool player.
I mean, wherever he plays, Lizzie, he's going to be able to do that free kick. You know, that's not a position thing. That's just pure skill, isn't it? As Paul says, it's having the confidence to do it, but also, you know, to execute it in front of all the Chelsea fans. I think he enjoyed that a little bit as well. It's certainly more than the Chelsea fans did. But I just want to talk about the free kicks and the fact that, you know, we are such a strong set-piece team at the moment, and that's work on the training pitch, but it's also thinking about it. So it's one thing having people who can execute them, but it's another thing the fact that we're just doing little things, obviously, to put the opposition off. So the one that Trent scores, it's the back heel from Salah which opens up the angle. The Firmino header, it's a little touch from Trent first to, I think the official party line was that Robbo prefers to cross a moving ball, but I think there is a bit more to it than that. They obviously like to disrupt that back line, don't they? So they're all set, they're all waiting, and then suddenly something happens and there's a bit of movement, and that's how you get space.
Yeah, the trick in the Monty, and the thing is with the Firmino one, he just found this massive space between the defence to get his header away. But and I'm just going to go quickly back to Trent, just because we're talking about the free kicks. I think what is so amazing about Trent is his maturity, and I think you said it before, when that free kick got given, my first instinct went Salah. But then I looked at it and I went, no, Trent's taking this. And you could see Henderson and all that gathered around him, and he had the maturity to step up and go, no, I want to take this free kick, and this is how you're going to take it so that I can score this goal. And it's the same with the decision-making that he had with Barcelona for him to, you know, is how good he is at set pieces, and you know what, he'll start fancying them more and more. The second one I thought was brilliant, the ball in by Robertson, and the fact that you can see the work that's being put in on the training ground to do with the set pieces, and the idea of just the little flick-ons is just pulling Chelsea out and putting them in all different spaces and positions to enable us to score the goals. I just think it's just ridiculously clever, and just because we didn't score the goals from necessarily open play doesn't mean that they weren't two fantastic goals. And I wish we'd scored a bit more from set pieces. Actually,
We're the top team in the league.
No,
so
I absolutely love seeing that sort of goal. And like I say, with Trent, since that Barcelona thing, I just think he's growing and growing, and I think you'll see him step up to the mark a lot more and probably put a few more in the top bin. And then just on what Jamie was saying, just going back to the midfield thing, I don't know if in this side he would actually want to move into midfield, because I feel like the midfield do enable the fullbacks to then get the assists, whereas like the midfielders don't necessarily assist the front three as much. It usually comes through Robertson and Trent, and I think Trent for us is much better suited on the right. And that was just my thoughts on that.
Just two things on what Lizzie said there. I think if you remember that Carragher and Neville thing, who wants to be a fullback, I don't think that's a thing anymore, to be honest. It's almost like the guys you put on the shadows of the centre mids now, where they used to be the stars of the show. So I can understand why Trent would want to play fullback.
That's just our team, though. Do you think, though? Well, because you look at City and they've got a De Bruyne running the show. They've got David Silva.
They're not centre mids as such, are they? They're almost abandoning centre mid and letting the defence put up with it, whereas they're just getting as many attacking players on the pitch. I do agree that part of our system is you'd want to be a fullback for Liverpool, but I think the way formations and teams are modelled now, midfielders are becoming the ones to let the other stars run the game. Just on Trent's goal, fuck me, it's it. I mean, that's Kepa's side as well. Like Kepa's stood there at that side. You said that it's for a left footy. It's a bit too close to get it up and down and put it in. So you've got to do something there. And Salah knocking it back disturbs them. But Jesus, what a hit that is. It's unbelievable how clean it is, and you need someone with pure technique to lash that in. And I think if that goal would have been another 10-15 yards away, it would have kept going, and no goalkeeper would have got near it. It was so clean, so
it's
good from him.
It's almost harder to get to score from a free kick that close, weirdly, isn't it? And that's what I'm saying, it was so clever between them in that moment, whether they've practiced it on the training field or not. I think I saw Klopp's initial post-match, like the immediate, and he basically said, listen, it's down to the boys. When they're on the pitch, they're making those decisions.
You can't practice every scenario, you know what I mean? You can practice different things, but you don't know exactly where the free kick's going to be.
There's like a perfect distance for a free kick. Another Scouser scored a free kick yesterday, Aaron Creswell. What a goal that is. But that's almost like the ample distance to get a ball up and down.
Practice.
And that is, if you're a free kick taker and you've seen videos of Beckham and whatnot as a kid, that's the sort of distance they practice from.
25 yards, isn't it?
That's it. Whereas the Trent one, you've got to be a bit cleverer. Like you used to see Coutinho try and roll it under a jumping wall.
That's what
or
I was
whatever.
shouting for yesterday. Go onto the wall.
But it's like that. Shut up! You're giving it away.
No bed. Stick to singing your songs.
but yet it's brilliant the way they've just come up with that on the spot. What are we doing here? And it just shows the maturity in the side.
Just a little bit more on the set pieces, Kev, because I think this is huge for us, and I think it all kind of feeds the idea that there's nothing you can do to stop this Liverpool team scoring. And I think, like, you know, with a great attacking side, you know, so everyone says, it's how do you play against this front three, because they've got so many different qualities and so many kind of different, you know, ways to kind of score against it, but also you're adding set pieces on that as well. So it's almost the case of we can't just try and shut out these good players. You can't just be trying to clear it all the time here, there, and everywhere. Because if we get a corner, we've got a better chance than anyone else in the league for scoring from them as well. And it just must make defending and just playing against us generally even more of a nightmare, because, as I say, we can score at the moment every type of goal, and normally with a team that's, you know, silky and, you know, the team that's, you know, got all these skills and this pace, you think, set pieces will be sound. Well, we're the best at them as well, so soz.
Exactly, yeah. I seen a thing yesterday that obviously with the top set piece scorers since the start of last season, but we've also scored 5 more headed goals than anyone else since the start of last season, yeah, which I think probably plays a lot into the set piece thing. But that just shows you that it's because it's not just like Van Dijk and Matip scoring headers. In fact, it's not really even them scoring to get the odd couple. But you got the likes of Mane. Like, you put a ball into Mane on the edge and he can head the ball as well as anybody. Yeah. The fact that we've got the fullbacks who can do what they can do there, I think it just shows it shows how good we are in every single aspect of all of the play. So you're talking about free kicks and headers here, but then by the same token, we're probably the number one team for regaining the ball in the opposition's final third,
without a doubt.
which is massive for us, because that then means teams are like, fucking hell, I don't necessarily want the ball here, so you're trying to get rid of it further forward, maybe a bit of a lump or whatever, just falls to one of our centre halves. And if you teams originally would be leaving, like, you'd leave Matip with the ball because you think, well, he's not going to hurt us. Fucking, do you know what I mean? A 50-yard run late and he's on the edge of your box. Bananas, though. As you say, we score every single type of goal, and as long as we keep firing. I thought it was interesting yesterday, and especially in Napoli, I feel like we played a little bit more conservatively, and the fullbacks weren't bombing on anywhere near as much as they normally do. I think it was more of a tactic to just play the ball and see what the front three can do, and it didn't necessarily work yesterday, and mad to say, because we went 2-0 up. But as you said before, Jamie, I thought Salah was a little bit, I don't know if it was rusty or what, but the ball from Mane to his chest, I thought last season he just took that down, bang, goal, no doubt.
I don't think I've ever seen Mo Salah as bad a game for Liverpool as he had yesterday.
It was mad when he's one-on-one with Kante, you're like, oh, here we go. And then he just gives him the ball.
Yeah,
I thought
to be fair, I mean, in the Kante situation, I mean, if it was any other player, you'd expect Salah to show him his boots, really, wouldn't you? And just, you know, be beating his grass. But Kante, I think he's...
It might be a thing, like when you've got a boss goalie in goal, like you try and put it right in the corner, and then so therefore teams are missing more. So you see teams taking shots against Liverpool now, they try and score the perfect goal because they know Alisson is going to get there. It might have been the same a little bit. Salah's gone, like if he's standing Kovacic up, he's thinking, I've got you on toast here, lad.
Yeah, if it's a big centre half, he just knocks it past him.
Yeah, but because it's Kante, maybe he's just second guessed himself. And when you're a player like Salah, you've probably got to play on your instinct as much as you possibly can, because that's when he has got magic in his boots when he does play like that.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, yeah, all right. He said, like, you know, he was rusty yesterday, but he still could have scored too. Do you know what I mean?
I think he ran ragged as well. I think he ran
exactly.
everywhere.
I think Mane and Salah both looked like they couldn't do any more really towards the end of the game. But you know, that's something we're gonna have to deal with. But you know, it's a rest midweek for them now. I personally, you know, everyone goes on about we don't care in these cups and that we always sort of go out early in the League Cup, the FA Cup, whatever. But you know, we've got bigger fish to fry at the minute, haven't we? And like, what would you take? I'd take a replay, you know, at Anfield. Or does it go to replay? No, does it go straight to pens? Well, even that, I'd take straight to pens and going out to MK Dons, giving a few young lads a bit of experience rather than burning all the lads out again and then go to Sheffield United. And it's, you know, it's not an easy game.
No.
They've had
some Everton at the weekend.
MK Dons have beat Everton.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Delacelle's under 10s team have beat Everton. But,
you know, they've gone. This is nothing to do with anything. But I was looking for some stats for this show before, and Everton have had the second most possession in the Premier League this season.
Yeah. How's that worked out for?
I don't know what the fuck to do with it.
Do you know what? One of them said to me, I was in the pub in the Standard on Friday night with a few of my mates, and one of my mates is an Evertonian. I said, what's happened? See his mate, what's gone on? And he went, we just missed Zuma. I've never laughed so much. Honest to God, broke down like I was like, Zuma, what? That's not an argument. But God loved them.
Okay, back to Liverpool. Liverpool, we'll talk about centre halves. John Matip, Paul is really good, growing week by week. I thought. You know, he's obviously, you know, he's been in a rich vein of form for quite a long time now. There's a period where there's 3 balls into the box and he wins every header, and you think he's not just sort of, I'm doing all right alongside Van Dijk now. He's growing in responsibility, you know, and if they're trying to avoid Van Dijk now, he's like, well, I'll just sweep it up.
I'm not sure it's a vein of form anymore.
It's just him.
Yeah, it's just him. A completely different footballer from the one I used to slate on the show every week.
And me.
Yeah.
Joe Beckenbauer, Matip.
Humble pie all around this
Well,
team.
it's not humble pie. I've said this on the show the other week. It was true what we were saying about him. He's a different footballer. And you can say Virgil van Dijk's had an influence on him or whatever, but, you know, I think Phil Bundle said a couple of weeks ago, if we'd have signed him when in the period to come back into the team, was it 18 months ago or something, that he'd have been talking about... It's 12 months, isn't it, about Gomez broke his leg? So the last 12 months...
January, too.
Yeah, he had. I mean, what a footballer he's become. And, you know, I think Carragher gives him man of the match there yesterday. I can't believe how far he's come, to be honest with you. Like, commanding in the air, a pest in the other box, which used to look like the ball just hit him in the face. You know, he seems like a leader in the side. Where one of my main criticisms of him was he was so timid. But yesterday he's commanding, he's winning everything in the air. I think that axis of Van Dijk, Fabinho and Matip himself, if you put a ball anywhere in that area, you're not winning it in the air. It's so commanding. But what I'm enjoying about the pair of them at centre half is the fact that they feel they can rush out and run at a ball without having to worry about what happens in behind, because if one goes, Fabinho will drop, and you've got a nice little you reset back into it too. It's brilliant what we've built there. But for him, I rate Joe Gomez as high as any young centre half in the world. You can fucking take care to him and do what you like with him. Joe Gomez is probably the best young centre half in Britain, and he is not getting a sniff. No, not even near it. You cannot break up that three in midfield. It's fantastic. It's what our success is being built upon. And I want to see Joe Gomez getting games for Liverpool, but not now.
He's got Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Paul summed it up really well there, Lizzie, but I just would like to keep talking about Matip because I think he deserves it. So feel free to just repeat everything. But I think it is that kind of that growing responsibility that you see from him. You know, at first I think he was quite happy just to, I'll just play alongside Virgil and I'll just kind of do my bit. Whereas actually what you saw at the weekend was him going, I'll box this, do you know what I mean? And as I say, I think at one point Carragher goes, he's won the last 3 headers in the box, you know, and like, it's right, because we weren't seeing that sort of 2 years ago.
It felt like the last couple of minutes where Chelsea were getting a bit on top, it was just Joe Matip that was there every time. He just kept winning everything. And I think what you said there about with Fabinho as well and alongside Van Dijk, I think the word I was looking for is it's a tandem. They work in tandem, don't they? They just know what each other's doing all the time, and they finally got a rhythm to them. And even with the keeper as well, I think just a quick shout to Adrian in this conversation is that, you know, he comes in, and I know this has probably been said on loads of podcasts, but I think each week we need to reiterate, he literally come in from like a second division Spanish side, hadn't trained with anyone, no pre-season whatsoever. He comes in, he's never played with this side before, but now he's got the minutes and the experience under his belt, and he's pulling off saves like he's pulled off at Napoli and at Chelsea.
The Napoli one's a joke.
Unreal, it's happened, but he
like
made...
Benteke United goal's the great forgotten save.
On the offside goal, he made a great save, and it was just unfortunate. Well, I know it was offside, but when Azpilicueta scored, but the actual initial save he made was great. And I think our back four now, they're just in sync, and I think Fabinho's a part of that. But Joel Matip, I just wouldn't swap. And I remember thinking, we need I don't know who's going to get in over Gomez and Matip, and now like Matip is all day every day the first name on the sheet. He just is not over Joe Gomez. And I just don't think you can break that up at the moment, because it's just working brilliantly to the point where Joel Matip's winning man of the matches over Van Dijk.
We go into the beginning of the last season with Van Dijk and Lovren being the first choice too, and then obviously there's the emergence of Joe Gomez that ends at Burnley, and then Joel Matip comes in and bosses it. I think it starts where he's rotating the pair of them, but Matip makes the shirt his own and obviously hasn't looked back. But you're talking about a club that was crying out for a single centre half. Yeah. At one point now having, you could probably argue 5 if you include Fabinho in it, top centre halves. Like in a world where clubs are really struggling for centre halves as well. You look, Man United throwing 80 million at Maguire, which I think Maguire's an alright footballer, but that's a gamble. You got to see the other best centre half in the world in a week, Koulibaly, but that's about where it ends.
I
maybe
think
Varane.
City too, because I think City have got...
look at City, like they're playing Fernandinho at centre half.
And he's an improvement on Stones and Otamendi.
I think with centre halves, I think the more you keep 2 centre halves together in a team, it's not rocket science. You look at Leicester the year they won the league. You look at Hoot and Morgan. I'm not saying that Matip is anything like Robert Hoot or Wes Morgan. I think he's a much better player than both of them. But what I'm saying is, you keep 2 players together for a certain period of time. They understand each other's game.
It's almost old-fashioned, isn't it?
It is old-fashioned. It's not rocket science. It's football. I think Klopp would say the same thing if he was sat in here now. You keep 2 players together, especially in centre half. They understand each other's game. For being on in front of them, they know, as far as that's concerned, 10 yards in front of me, that's his ball game. 10 yards behind me, that's the goalkeeper. Everything in between, we've got covered. touching on, Matip, I think confidence is massive with every footballer. I think the fact that he's come in, started well once he come in after Gomez, and it just hasn't seemed to dip there. I think the confidence factor has gone out of it, like you say. Now I think he's well aware that he is more than capable of doing that job. He is, he's not just Virgil van Dijk centre-half, he's the second centre-half in Liverpool's back four now. And yeah, touching on Adrian, I'd just like to say, I think he's been great since he's come in. I really do. Like, people give him criticism. Yeah, you're going to miss Alisson. He's the best goalkeeper in the world. Who wouldn't miss the best goalkeeper in the world? But I just like to say, he come on that pitch yesterday night, and not many people seen it. I was stood in the top tier, and I watched him coming on, running towards our end, which is obviously the goal he was defending, and he looked at the lads behind the goal, and he didn't. It was just the game hadn't kicked off, and he got, fucking come on. And the whole end went, fucking, and you could see he loved it, and like, all right, he might be playing up to cameras on, but that goes a long way,
I don't think it is playing up to cameras. I think he's
just
that type of
genuinely
fella,
loving what he's doing. He's like, I'm in dreamland here, and I'm going to make the most of it, and I'm going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to be Liverpool's number one for as long as I can be. And you know what? Fair play to the lad. He stood up to Tammy Abraham yesterday.
That was a good save.
Good save. That made himself big.
I don't want to say what he needed at the end.
Yeah, well, that was even better. No, because we looked at Mignolet and Karius for years, right? And you think, what Reina used to do, nothing was coming in between him and that ball. You take your own centre half, or you take the centre forward with you. Doesn't matter. That ball is your goalie's. Yeah. End of the day. Now we've now got two keepers who do that. Alisson's unbelievable. He's, we know what Alisson does. He commands his own box. He commands sometimes that he assists goals near enough. He's that good. But to have a second keeper to come in and to be putting a big lad like Tammy Abraham down and out, that ball's mine, lads. I don't care where you are, sort of thing. Makes himself big. Lets the fans know that he's passionate about what he's doing. Sound. He's our number 2 keeper, and let's have it right. We've won 6 games. All right, Alisson got injured in the first game, didn't he? But we've won 6 games with him in. It's not good. It's not going to be ideal to have him in all season. You want Alisson back as quickly as possible. But for a number 2 keeper, I'm more than. I think people who are giving him shit week in, week out, because there are the few that say, I'm still not sold on the goalie. I think even now the centre halves are getting more comfortable with the goalie. They tell him when he needs to go, and they tell him when he needs to stay. And it's only going to happen through playing. So yeah, do you know what? Things are good at Liverpool at the minute, aren't they?
He obviously makes the mistake at Southampton early on in his Liverpool career. But I think apart from that, he's pretty faultless. I'm the same as Jamie. I've really enjoyed his sort of, even at the top end or whatever, just giving it. I think the Super Cup helped him massively. He got to be a bit of a star of the show there, didn't he? But from then, the thing that I noticed that we were in his first game that Alisson wouldn't do was obviously he'd dwell on the ball like a West Ham goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? He'd get the ball, take his time, he'd have a look around, and it used to drive everyone mad about Mignolet, like when things were on. But in the last couple of weeks, all that stopped. He's lofting it over oncoming attackers' heads. He's finding the quick throw. He feels like a Liverpool goalkeeper now, and someone who's come there. But it's being so self-assured as a number 2 goalkeeper. It's not that common. Jamie mentions about him wiping out. Was it Abraham he went through?
It was a great save.
But he's up, he's out early. You played in goal, Kev. They tell you about like putting your knee out to protect yourself. He's got firmly the ball in 2 hands, and then we're on the move again. It's astounding that I always thought he was a decent keeper at West Ham, and it always seemed like they'd buy some fucking mug to try and change him every year, and halfway through the season he'd be back in. I never quite understood what was unfashionable about him. I always thought, is he a bit of a dickhead, or is there something in the dressing room that they don't like about him? But fucking hell, I mean, I can't believe we were in a position 18 months ago or 2 years ago when we hated all the goalkeepers we have.
He's better now than our last two for once.
Yeah, I think 100%. I think so, personally.
100%.
What's nice about it, Kev, is that when you speak to Gary McAllister, he always says, like, I can't believe I got that at the end of my career. Like, I was, me and McAllister had a good career, it must be said. We won the league at Leeds and stuff like that, but he was like, I was 35, I was at Coventry. You're thinking, like, well, your career's only going one way, and then suddenly he gets this thing at Liverpool. And when you speak to McAllister now, like, about what he experienced at Liverpool and the love he got and what he's like, he just feels like that was just, someone just gave me an amazing gift. And he sort of sensed that a bit with Adrian, don't you? He's 32, he leaves West Ham to go and search for first team football. So he's thinking, I'll probably have to take a step down from West Ham. Do you know what I mean? But I want to go and play somewhere. As Lizzie says, he's training with his mates in Spain, you know, having a kickabout in the park, trying to like just keep sharp. And then suddenly he's got this thing at Liverpool but it is a bit of a gamble for him because he knows that Alisson's there, and now he's got this thing where and he's acting like a man who just thinks this is brilliant. So when you get that, when it feels like a gift, you don't get like nervous really, do you? You're just like, this is brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think he's the type of fella who gets the nerves, you know. I think we've had obviously Karius and Mignolet in the past, and both full of misplaced confidence though. Like Mignolet less so. Mignolet was probably as issue as the other end. He was too timid and he was second guessing himself. Karius had this misplaced confidence of like, what the fuck has got, like, how we thought he was as good as he in his own head, I don't know. Whereas Adrian is like, yeah, I'm fucking great, me, mate. Don't worry, don't be worrying about it.
You got a reminder of what Karius is about in the week, didn't you? You see that. I mean, and it's all, I feel like a stuck record, but it's all about seeing how far Liverpool have come. You know, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't like we were shy about throwing a bit of money about in terms of getting Fabinho, Van Dijk and Alisson. But, you know, they were talking yesterday about Man United spending 800 million in 6 years, and that front six they had towards the end of the game at West Ham. We've spent the money.
Yeah. But
we spent. It's all right when you spend it well. No one talks about Van Dijk's transfer fee. No one talks about. I don't think anyone's ever mentioned how much we paid for Fabinho. You know, we paid a few quid for him. Was it 45 million quid or something from Monaco, and when Monaco was sort of selling everyone. And he was the one that they wanted to keep hold of. And I know me and you spoke about Fabinho being a dud, but at the very beginning we just weren't sure on him. We thought that was maybe the one we got wrong. But Liverpool have continued to buy well, and even down to the ones we've done at the lower end, and Shaqiri's and Adrian's, we seem to be getting everything right. It's a club that's going completely in the direction that you want with a plan. And we're seeing like a lot of your rivals, even Chelsea, where they've put Lampard in because they know it'll appease things. Look at Manchester United, no direction, no real strategy in what they're doing, no centre forward. You know, when the centre forwards they got don't score enough. There's two clubs there now that are going to go for everything. Liverpool have come so far, and wins like yesterday just highlight that for me. It's incredible that you can go to Chelsea now. I don't know how many times it is in the last few years, but we just win and win and win. 15 games on the bounce, another club record. What a side.
Just a little bit about the subs, Jamie. I don't think he massively worked from you know, Milner came on, sort of looked like he struggled to get into the game a bit, throws a bit of a mad tackle in a bit of a dangerous place. I think Lallana, you'd like him maybe a little bit sharper if he's going to come in, and also, you know, he's asking him to come in from free, and he's always going to look a bit light compared to what we're normally there. Are you worried about the kind of sub options at the moment, or am I just looking for something to talk about?
No, do you know what I mean? Me personally, yesterday, I mean, I know Paul made the point that like Lallana's probably one of the more, you know,
switched on.
Yeah, switched on in terms of keeping hold of the ball and not doing anything stupid at that time. But like me personally, I'd like to see Chamberlain play a lot more. Like, I'm a big fan of him. I know he hasn't been too great since he's come back from his injury, but that is to be expected at the end of the day. And the only way he's going to get better is by playing, you know, competitive football. So I think personally there, when you bring in Milner and Lallana on, I mean, you know, Jurgen Klopp probably turn around to me and say, what the fuck do you know? But like, I would have went with one of them and Chamberlain, because I think Chamberlain's got more legs. You know, I think in them last closing minutes when, you know, we obviously look gassed. Yeah. I think Chamberlain's got more pace and power.
A bit more of a threat as well.
And going forward, you can stretch them. You know, we could put pressure on them when they're in possession. When we're in possession, he's got the legs to stretch them and open up the space. And not only that, he's not scared to have a pop, is he? Do you know what I mean? I think that's one thing that we do miss from the midfield. If I'm going to be critical of anything, I would say our midfield, it's not as, you know, we don't unsettle teams enough. You know, I think it is very side to side a little bit, and maybe that's the game plan, but I do think now and again it's refreshing to have someone from your midfield picking the ball up, beating 2 or 3 men and letting a shot off. I just think that's football. You know what I mean?
Back, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it makes teams think a little bit more about what they're doing, because they know that this threat could come out of nowhere, whereas, you know, if you're playing side to side and everything's in front of you, you can see what's going on.
The thing is, go on, do you want to...
I was just going to say that he made a sub, the Newcastle game, I think it was, where he brought Shaqiri and Milner on, and there was a stat knocking round. I think they come on for like the last 20 minutes or something. And
100% completed pass.
And I think that's what he was looking for. I think he was just trying to replicate that because we were poor in possession. Like I actually thought he was going to do Shaqiri for exactly them reasons. Just keep the ball, be more sensible in possession. But I think when Wijnaldum grew in the last sort of 10 minutes into the game and started getting us out, obviously we've mentioned Robertson, but it was just keeping the ball. That was the point I was going to make.
I think before Mane looked a little bit leggy, my initial instinct was Oxlade-Chamberlain, because I was thinking Salah wasn't really, he wasn't really playing well, and I thought this, like we said earlier, and again this isn't absolutely slight on Trent, it's more the fact that Salah doesn't track back as much, is that it seemed to me that he was just getting more tired as the game was going on, and I thought, well, that right hand side could do with being covered, and I thought Oxlade-Chamberlain putting him sort of on the right would help cover that space. But I think in a game like that, I think it's a case of more of getting James Milner on the pitch wherever he can, rather than like, I'm going to put him in a certain place to do a certain job. I think he just wants Milner on the pitch to gain some control, because he's just got such a level head, so much experience, that you throw him on, you tell him to do a job, and he'll do it in the most James Milner way.
I think it was one of them games where he'd definitely look for Origi if he'd have had him as well, just as an outball to hold it up.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he missed that. I don't think it was one where you could throw Brewster on. No. He's struggled in that, but physicality. That's it. I think just having I think we've got this idea that the bench of other sides across Europe are incredible. I mean, we spoke about United earlier. Some of the lads they had on the bench, I know they've got a couple of injuries, but you're seeing a really poor bench. Manchester City is struggling for numbers. They're playing Fernandinho at centre half. You look across Europe, and I think now that they're paying, like, where everyone's on pretty much 10 million quid a year, they can't afford it anymore. And you see the Paris Saint-Germain Real Madrid game in the Champions League in the week, the amount of players that have gone to PSG because they can't get a game at Real Madrid. It was like a testimonial or something, like you see Navas and whatnot playing for PSG. I think Liverpool's bench by comparison and squad depth is really quite strong. The point I was making earlier about Lovren not making 18s, but he'd be first choice centre half for probably most of the teams.
He'll definitely play on Wednesday.
The top seven,
definitely.
Well, he'd be playing for Arsenal. He'd probably be playing for Chelsea, if we're honest. Like if Rudiger's out there yesterday, you'd imagine Lovren starts for Chelsea. So I think we've got to appreciate what we've got a little bit more sometimes, because Xherdan Shaqiri would be a lot of Premier League clubs' best player, not making the starting 11 for Liverpool. Joe Gomez, world class young centre half, not getting a game for Liverpool. Even the goalkeeping situation, it's 2 in every position. That's the dream. This is what we all wanted. We've got it. We've got to appreciate it.
You look at Keita as well. He's going to come back as well. So all being well, I think Paul's right. I think if everyone's fit, it's not easy to keep everyone fit all season, but I think if you keep everyone fit for the majority of the season, I don't think it's too bad when you look to the bench. Particularly if Milner starts the game as well, because then you look to see who comes out of that team. It's either Wijnaldum. So if Milner's starting in that midfield with Henderson, because it looks like Henderson and Fabinho are the 2 names in midfield every week, and then it's Wijnaldum's position that's sort of up for grabs in my eyes. So I think even if Milner's in that starting 11, you look to the bench and you think, well, there's Wijnaldum, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Keita there to come in the midfield. Going forward, Shaqiri and Origi, not the worst. Defensively, Lovren, Joe Gomez and the goalie. Milner can play full-back either side. Milner's the ever versatile man, isn't he? But I think the squad it's definitely the best squad that we've had in the past 20-25 years. Definitely. And I think, me personally, best first 11 we've had in a very, very, very long time as well.
But the succession planning's going on as well. So you talk about Brewster,
Well, that's why I'm actually quite excited about MK Dons, Paul, because I think you talk about the League Cup game as a way of giving people a rest, but I prefer to see it as a way of giving people minutes who actually need them, who I'm actually quite excited to see, and sort of gives the opportunity for a few lads to put your hand up and go, next time there's a change, I'm your first change, you know what I mean? And so I've written down a bit of a team here. I want to see Brewster play as a number 9. I understand why he's reluctant to give him minutes, but, you know, at the moment, because he hasn't played too much, but I want to see him play against MK Dons. You think about Shaqiri, who needs minutes. Cater, if he's fit enough, you want to see him come in. I've got Milner, who I think could do with playing. You can have a look at Lallana as a number 6 if you want. There's Chamberlain, obviously, you want to see big. That's a good front 6. And behind them, you got Lovren and Gomez as centre half. And then give a couple of young lads, as you say, the likes of Hoover to go. That's a good team, but it's also an exciting team.
I don't know what the fitness of the younger lads, but even the lad, was it Larucci?
I had to put Adam Lewis in just because...
Just because he's your mate.
Just because he kicks people more.
There's
an
argument, isn't there?
He's a good lad, Adam. Only just because I've watched Adam play for years, like, because Kirby Academy is literally 10 minutes from ours. So on a Saturday morning when my little brother was, you know, if he wasn't playing footy or something, he'd say, oh, the under-23s or the under-18s are playing now. I'd say to him, yeah, we'll go down and watch. And I'd drive down, and I remember I remember we were playing Man United one day, and these two lads, proper typical Manc lads, were on the right-hand side, and Adam was playing left-back, and he seemed like he was the only one who wanted to have a go, you know what I mean? And you know what, he didn't only, like, he was getting in hard with them, and he didn't want to know, but even his football, they were getting wound up, and he was still letting his feet do the talking, and everything else, and I've met him a couple of times. He's a really down-to-earth lad. He's a local lad. Larucci looks like a brilliant player, and he also seems like a really nice lad from what I've heard about him at the club. But he's one of ours, Adam Lewis, isn't he? So you always want to see a Scouser do.
Have you got it right back, Hoover?
I've got Hoover.
Yeah.
I liked him. But I mean, that's
my only question. Is who
whoever he goes for, I'd say if you know, that's, you know, if you say 8 or 9 of them, you know what I mean, it's an exciting team, I would say, Paul, and it's a team of lads who should be able to be going out there thinking, this is my opportunity to get myself more into Jurgen's mind maybe than I am right now.
But also a team there that should beat MK
without doubt.
That's the other thing, you know, we're making 11 changes, but you'd be confident going into that
midfield, especially Lallana, Ox and Milner.
Yeah. Even the front 3, you look, as you said, Shaqiri be the best player in most Premier League teams. Ryan Brewster he's obviously an unknown to us, but from all we hear, he's an exciting talent.
Bang them in pre-season.
And Naby Keita was the best player in the Bundesliga 2 years ago, and we're bringing him in to play in a League Cup game. So that team could. Let's not put that against a lot of Premier League teams. You'd be confident. So it shows the strength that we have got into that.
And on 6,000 of us is going off.
I'm going down there. I'm looking forward to you going.
I'm really looking forward to you. Just before we finish,
Stop it, John. You know,
I've got a pass, lad. just before we finish, just because we got you in, Jamie, to do the free show, which I think is the first time you've done sort of this one. If you just let people know a little bit about what you're up to. Obviously, you've got a lot of exciting shows coming up. There's your own stuff. There's the stuff that you're doing abroad, which is more the Liverpool stuff.
For like people who are looking to the Liverpool stuff, obviously, I always do me gigs in hotels here before every game. Fantastic place, fantastic owners. I also do the halfway house after the game. Sometimes. We've got a couple of boss events coming up. We're potentially looking to go back to Ireland on tour. We're playing in Copenhagen this weekend. So I won't be at the Sheffield United game, so I can feel a bit better about yourself, Kev. We've got a lot coming. I'm going to Australia with Copmania in November. It's going to be great, you know, getting out there and playing for all the Aussies and expats out there. That'll be cool. And one thing I'm most looking forward to, though, it's like sort of a new challenge for me, is my own music coming out to me. And I know I'll still always be doing me Liverpool stuff, because as you can probably gather from this podcast, I'm a big Liverpool fan and I love Liverpool Football Club, but I'll always be doing me Liverpool gigs. But it's a nice experiment and experience for me now to be able to write and record my own music, and it's not songs about winning the cup in Madrid or anything like that. It's songs about just working class struggles and escapes everyday life. So I've got a cash support gig around Christmas. I'm supporting the Red Rum Club in Sheffield, O2 Academy this Thursday. And my main one, I'm supporting the T Street Band in December as well, which would be cool. But the one that I'd like to talk about just for a second is my single release. My single launch on the 2nd of November. It was in the shipping forecast, but that sold out in 5 or 6 hours. So we've moved it to the Zanzibar. There's limited tickets left for that now. It's all looking good, and well, it's exciting. We've got Matty from the Shipbuilders. Hopefully that's confirmed today. I'm going to get Matty on support, because, well, Matty should be headlining really, but you know, he's going to have to support me for this one. But yeah, you know, I love the Shipbuilders, and we're going to have another young Scouse musician called Jack Gilbanks, hopefully supporting. He's just written a song for mental health all the proceeds are going to that. So if anyone can research Jack Gilbanks as well on Spotify app, Amazon Music, it's a young Scouse lad doing something for a great cause. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to all that to come. I'm a busy boy, but I've always got time for the lads at the rap.
We appreciate it. So that single release, it's the night of Villa away. So if you're from Liverpool, obviously, or you're in Liverpool for the game, do try and get along to that. But if not, obviously the single's going to be widely available to buy around that time.
Yeah,
as well,
and tickets on all my social media platforms. You can find them links.
That's right. Thanks a lot to Jamie for coming in, but also obviously to Paul, to Lizzie and to Kev. Hope you've enjoyed the Anfield Wrap. Hopefully we'll have Neil Atkinson back in the country next week.